Hi, let me show you what is isometric projection and how to construct the same. First of all, what do you mean by isometric projection? The isometric projection is nothing but it is a type of pictorial representation where by observing a single view we can easily understand what the object is. Now here you can see the isometric projection of a cube has been represented here. Now you can see 1, 2, 3 faces are shown here where anybody can able to tell that it is a cube. Where in case of orthographic projection, we have to draw minimum 2 orthographic views with the combination of front and top or front and side views, and which should be read simultaneously to understand what the object is. But whereas in case of isometric projection, with the single view we can easily identify what the solid is. Now, in case of isometric projection, we have to position a cube in such a way that it is resting on HP with one of its corners and one of its solid diagonal being parallel to VP and perpendicular to HP. Now, this is the view with respect to that conditions you can see. Now, this is called as right lateral surface, this is called as top face, this is called as left lateral surface, and here 1, 2 and 3 faces are invisible, but the length of all the edges will be equally foreshortened for a ratio of root 2 is to root 3, which is nothing but 0.8164 times. Now here you can see this will become the true length of a square if you are going to draw, but in case of isometric projection that will be the foreshortened to this length. This is called as isometric length. Now whatever the angle you are going to get, that is called as isometric angle, that is 30 degree to the right, 30 degree to the left. All the horizontal lines you can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. All the 8 horizontals are 30 degree to the horizontals, but whereas vertical edges remains as vertical in case of isometric projections. Now, how to construct the isometric length? One can easily see here how to construct the isometric scale. Now, the true length is always at an angle of 45 degree and isometric length is always at an angle of 30 degree. You have to draw two lines with the same starting point. Now, measure 10, 20, 30, 40 for the desired length. After drawing the desired lengths, with respect to that points, drop a line vertically till it touches the isometric length line, which is drawn at an angle of 30 degree. And if you measure from here to here, that is going to measure the isometric length of 10 millimeter. In the same fashion, from this point to this point is isometric length of 20, and here to here is isometric length of 30, isometric length of 40, 50 and so on. It will be continued. One can easily construct the isometric scale in the manual drawing easily. Now, what are the guidelines to be followed to construct the isometric projections? Here you can go through. All the vertical edges remains vertical always. Now you can see 1, 2, 3, 4 vertical edges are remains as vertical. And the second important point states that the horizontal edges which are parallel to isometric axis are drawn at 30 degree to the horizontal, which are that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Now you can see these 1, 2, 3, 4 lines are parallel to each other. 1, 2, 3, 4 lines are parallel to each other. That means all the lines are 30 degree to the horizontal. Either it could be written towards right side or left side. It depends. And the inclined edges not parallel to isometric axis should not be drawn at given inclination. These inclined edges are drawn by first locating the end points in the isometric, and then it should be joined is the third point. That means if you have any inclined line, you cannot draw the inclined line at the given inclination. You have to find out its actual position and we have to join the lines. That it states. Then fourth one is all circles are represented by ellipses. and the construction lines have to be retained as thin lines and visible edges as thick lines. Generally, hidden lines need not to be shown in case of isometric unless otherwise required, either for locating a corner or an edge or a face, or if mentioned. Then the seventh point to be remembered is, unless otherwise specifically mentioned, to draw the isometric view or isometric drawing, all edges are reduced to isometric scale. Now, what is isometric view or isometric drawing? Here, isometric view or isometric drawing is nothing but the 40 mm line will be drawn at an angle of 30 degree at 40 mm itself. That type of lines we call it as isometric view or isometric projection. Isometric drawing. Projection means it will be getting foreshortened for a ratio of √2:√3. And here no need to indicate any dimensions unless it is mentioned. Now, view drawn with the true scale is called as isometric view or isometric drawing. If isoscale is used, then it is called as isometric projection. And also note that the isometric view will be always 22.5% larger than the isometric projections. Now, based on these guidelines, let me show you how to draw the isometric projections one by one.